Today I'm running with Ahmed Youssef. I've known Ahmed for a couple of years, mainly from the Agalateya group. We ran many times together. And this is going to be interesting because I know about Ahmed's performance. I've seen him in races, I've been following his progress, but I really know nothing about how it started. You know, what brought him into this level of performance and where he's going from here. So welcome, Ahmed.
Hi, Omar. Thank you for having me today. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. Ahmed, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Ahmed Youssef. I live in Oakville with my wife, Aya, and my two daughters, Dana and Tamara. Basically, I am I'm a technologist by profession. I'm an advocate for health and well-being by heart. And I'm glad to be here today.
Awesome. Okay, Ahmed, thank you for the introduction. Now I'm really very curious. Like, I've been following you for a couple of years, and I know your performance right now, but I'm very curious how it all started. Have you always been athletically inclined? Have you always been in sports? Where do you think the beginning was?
Well, actually, you can say generally I was always in sport, but not particularly in running.
Okay.
So the way I describe it, that my journey with the running started the very traditional way, which is basically running around the neighborhood.
Okay.
In my home country, Egypt, for very small distances, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. Yeah. And then from this point started to increase gradually. I would say the first major milestone for me was doing the 10K in Kuwait.
Okay.
The first 10K race. This is when I got my first basically medal. I was very encouraged, and the inspiration started to rise from this point onward.
When was that, if you don't mind me asking?
That was in 2008.
2008, okay.
Yeah, 2008. I was with my partner in crime, always Wael Fathi. You probably know him.
Yes.
So we had lots of communality since then. Then from this point onward, I started increasing a little bit my distance. My second major milestone was 13 kilometers. This is where I got really very excited that I can actually break the barrier of 10K, and started hovering around this for quite some time.
Okay.
And then the most important, or the second most important milestone, was the half marathon.
Yep.
At the waterfront, Toronto, in 2015.
Oh, so there's a few years in between.
Yeah, a lot of years actually.
Yeah.
And then from this point onwards, my inspiration got higher. So I participated in the full marathon, Toronto waterfront again, in 2018.
Okay. Was running the only sport you were doing back then?
Honestly, no. I was doing a lot of other sports, like mainly soccer and basically the soccer or football. Running was my only thing, plus the regular gym.
Okay.
So that's pretty much where I am. And then from this point onward, I started to get inspired to go into the triathlon.
Yep.
After 2018. I had it in my mind for quite some time, until the moment a friend actually signed up for Salah Hashish Ironman. His name is Muhammad Ali. And from this point onward, I started getting into the triathlon as well.
Yep. So now, if I can ask you, which would you prefer? Like just a running race or a triathlon?
Quite frankly, it's the triathlon now is my passion.
Okay.
I do actually do the marathon as part of the training.
Yep.
But my passion is more triathlon, I would say.
I see. Okay, so since you've kind of walked us through a brief history of how it all started, can I ask you to recall, you know, two times or points along the history one like low point where things didn't go as well as expected, because I think people think that, you know, runners, and especially good runners like yourself, everything always goes against like according to plan.
Oh yeah. Well, honestly, this is a great question. Most recently, I had a very low point, if you like to call it. I was preparing for almost a year,
Okay.
for a full Ironman. That was supposed to be my first full Ironman.
Yep.
Where it's going for 3.8 kilometers, and then 180 kilometers cycling,
Wow.
and then full marathon.
Yep.
So I took it very seriously. I trained for almost a year.
Yeah.
And then a month before the race, something happened in my work life that prevented me from training.
Yeah.
So I basically stopped training.
Yep.
So I literally had to give up a full year of training. I dropped the race.
Oh wow.
So it was very, very disappointing.
That's hard.
moment. Yeah. So this is the lowest point.
The lowest point.
Yeah.
Let's now remember a high point, a specific moment that you're really proud of, or you feel that you know, a memory that you really cherish.
Well, I can talk about a lot of things for me personally that I'm so proud of it, but I will pick up one particular moment, and that's when we launched the running activity in Agalatea.
Yep.
That was about 2021. Agalatea started, as you know, in 2020 during the pandemic.
Yep.
Only cyclists.
Yep.
But then a year later we introduced running. So it was very important for me until today to be part of launching this activity with my friend Nadine.
Yep.
Reason is it quickly became very popular.
Yes.
It invited many people
Yep.
to the sport itself. And I would say it was something very important, not on a personal level, but on a community level.
Yep.
So that's I consider one of the highest points for me personally.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a point that I can also relate to, because, as I mentioned before, Agalatea converted running from a solo activity for me to something that I enjoy with a group, and it allows you to meet like-minded
Exactly.
sports people.
Exactly, and I think perfect example. You are a perfect example of this. How many things have been inspired even beyond the running. So
Yes.
lots of activities. People, coaches got inspired to get into the coaching business. Even more people, they took this practice and spread it in other areas. So I think it was very inspiring for everyone.
Yes. Yes. So before we move on, I just want to ask you, what are your dreams personally for your own goals and for Agalatea in the future?
I hope I will not listen to this interview, because it's a bit what I'm actually hoping for myself. I'm a big advocate of well-being,
Okay.
and health and sports, and the impact of well-being on everything in life. So my personal goals is gradually to evolve my profession to be in this field.
Okay.
From where I am today. I'm a technologist basically, but I would like to grow this practice within our community, starting with Agalatea and going even beyond. And I started taking some steps in this direction.
Oh, that's very interesting.
For Agalatea itself, you should talk to Aya about this, but I think because I'm very close to her, she has a lot of dreams and plans to make this grow this movement further. So
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to help her as well, as one of the co-founder, and her husband, of course.
Yep.
So that's basically for Agalatea.
Awesome. I'm gonna give you 3 scenarios, and I want to hear what your advice is on that. One is a common one. You know, you have this friend that either is not into sports at all, or maybe is into sports like tennis or football or whatever, and he's like, running is so boring. You do the same thing over and over for hours. I would never run.
Okay.
What would you say to such a person?
I would say, like, very simple advice. If you're not doing anything at all, or having some sort of sport, don't look at the sport, the running, as a sport. It's actually much more than this. It's a way to meditate. We do it not because we want to. If you ask me, I don't do the running because I want to. I do it because I need to, for my brain, for my body, for my life, health. So look at it this way. So you would add something. Sorry, go this way. You would add something to your toolkit to be more diversified. It could also either encourage you to go harder in life, or if you are already a sporty person, it will improve your performance.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. What about a person who has already started running, maybe joined our group, and on the couch to 5K, but he feels like, oh, there's no way. I'm just starting to run maybe like 3 kilometers, and I have people in the group who can easily do 20. There's no way I'm gonna be there.
Okay. Well, I think it's first, congratulations on getting into running.
Yep.
I would congratulate them. My advice would be, I think it's linked to that first advice. It's more than sport. Take it step by step.
Yes.
It's basically a growth process.
Yep.
So you break down your body and then you rebuild it. And every time you repeat this process of breaking it, rebuild it.
Which way?
Every time you break it and rebuild it, your body, you add a new strength. You add a new element that you didn't have before. So trust the process.
Yep.
Take it step by step.
Awesome. Okay, now let's move to the third category. Somebody who has been running for years and is really passionate about it, but unfortunately life happens, right? So it could be work, could be family, could be an injury, and I've experienced this myself, a guilt starts building up. Oh, my friends are running, and because of my work commitment, now I need to kind of change course, or maybe not go on to the race that I was really hoping to be ready for.
Right.
How do you cope with such
Setbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't know if there's a one answer to this question, but what comes to mind is this is part of the process. So running is an endurance sport, and basically it helps you to help your brain to endure everything else tough in life.
Okay.
Some of it could be related to work, some of it could be marriage relationship, parental relationship.
Yep.
Think about it this way. So this is part of the process. If you're having a tough patch in your life, that's part of the process. Embrace it and don't give up. So think about it as part of the growth process as well.
Yep. Use it to strengthen yourself, even like emotionally.
Exactly. Good point. Like, think about the good emotions that you had during your training before the setback happens.
Yep.
Usually it helps going through those tough times.
Yes. Okay, Ahmed. Again, part of the running experience and advice. If I'm a runner that I'm now into running, but I'm just like maybe finishing the couch to 5K, where would you, like, sometimes you're thinking about either increasing your pace because you see other runners that are running the same distance faster, or should I start working on increasing my distance and maybe doing a 10K?
Okay.
Which would you encourage me to work on?
So if your goal is basically to get better in the long distance races, like half marathon and full marathon,
Yep.
there are a few steps that you can take once you finish the couch to 5.
Yep.
So my advice, again, is personal advice, personal experience. you start building volume first, and then go to improve your cardiovascular capacity or your run economy, which is through increasing your what's called VO2 max.
Yep.
So volumes, you go on a low pace for long distances, and you increase gradually the distance, but you go on a very low pace.
Okay.
No sprinting and nothing.
Yep.
You increase until you get to do comfortably 20k, for example.
Okay.
And then you start adding, increasing your VO2 max through intervals.
Yep.
And then you start mixing it up a little bit between volume and VO2 max. As you get closer to your race day, you start focusing on the, let's say, the focus distance, which is, if it's a long distance, you go with a low volume again.
Yep.
So it really depends on what's your target.
I see.
And there's completely different dynamics if your goal is to sprint for 200 meters or 300 meters.
Yep. Okay, Ahmed, that was great advice. I'm gonna mix it up a bit and switch to the shorter versus questions.
Okay.
Right. So number one, do you prefer running on a road or on trail?
I prefer road for sure.
Road. Okay.
Trail, if it's a recovery run, I might go for trail, but mostly road.
Yep. Yep. Okay. What is your preferred time of day if you have no like other commitments?
I always go. I'm an early riser.
Yep.
So my preference is always to start very early in the morning. I usually start at 4 a.m. I finish everything by 7 a.m.
Oh wow. Okay. That's earlier even than I expected. What is your favorite running season, especially that we're in Canada?
Very tough question. People who knows me, I basically go indoor in the winter. I can't tolerate
The cold.
The cold.
Yeah.
My fingers and my tips is actually frozen. Gets frozen.
Yep.
So I prefer definitely summer. Maybe moderate winter is fine, but extreme weather I go indoor.
But you still train in winter, right?
I train indoor.
Okay.
Treadmill and any indoor avenues.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Do you, while you're running, if you're running alone,
Yeah.
do you listen to music, podcasts,
Okay.
audiobooks, or nothing at all?
Good question. I actually went through all these phases. Started with the traditional start, which is music, listen to music.
Yep.
The last maybe 5 years or so, I switched to one of two modes, either podcasts,
Yep.
usually training if I want to get some sort of knowledge or upskill myself in a certain area.
Yep.
Because I found it very efficient to listen to those podcasts during running.
Yep.
Or I don't listen to anything. I just go on my own,
Listen to your mind.
ideating,
Yep.
articulating ideas and get it clear in my head.
Yep. Okay. I think this is the last of the short questions. Do you prefer running solo or in a group?
It really depends, Elmer. Mostly because of the type of training, I go solos most of the time.
Yep.
Unless there is a group exercise, group training where we have this way, where we can basically train for the same purpose. Like if we're all training for half marathon or full marathon. But if I'm training on my own for my own purpose, then I go solo.
Okay. Yeah, I also tend to enjoy both. Like I think there are advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah. No, we'll go this way.
Oh, okay.
Unless you don't want to go home.
Type, okay. Oh, I think I forgot. Okay, Ahmed, what about the running distance? If you're not training for a specific race or distance, if you're just running for the sake of running,
Okay.
what would be your favorite distance right now?
My favorite distance would be anything between 10 to 15.
Yep.
That's typically my kind of favorite mix of training and recovery, if you will. So
Yeah.
I tend to, it's long enough to give me enough time to listen to something that I want to listen to.
Yes.
but also not too long.
If you're not training with someone or following a certain group, would you prefer running in a loop, or do you like running out and back?
Like here in the neighborhood, I prefer to go. I like to go like from one starting point, and I end at the same point, but in a loop.
Okay.
Basically. Yeah, I think it's the short answer is a loop.
The loop. Okay. All right. So one of the things that we talk about is how running as a sport has a low entry bar. Like, you don't need a lot of gear. You don't need a court. The whole world is your court. You can go in whatever shoes. But as you do it more and more, you realize that there's certain gear that improves your performance or your experience with running, makes it more comfortable. Can you tell us about a couple of those that you have really enjoyed?
Well, I'll confess to something. I'll make a confession here. I'm not so good with the gears generally.
Okay.
But things which actually help me with my performance is the shoes and the thighs, the sleeves and the leggings. I noticed that when I wear those tight leggings and sleeves, something happens that may be related to improving the blood circulation, the muscles.
Okay.
And the shoes actually one of the things which made a huge difference.
Yes.
When it comes to speed.
Yep.
You probably know this better than anyone. And everyone is different.
Yep.
I prefer the Nike.
Yep.
It's not a promotion or anything or advertisement, but Nike works the best for me.
Yes. Oh, any specific Nikes?
I have the Zoom. It's the Zoom. I don't know.
These are the Zoom Flies, right?
The Zoom Flies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been sticking with them for the last two or three shoes now.
Oh, okay.
And I always change them every about 500 kilometers or so.
Yep. Yeah, as you said, I think for different shaped shoes, I also found that Nikes and Pumas and maybe Adidas are the brands that work for my foot shape.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually pick up your mind with this because I feel that I might be locking myself with a Nike. Maybe there's something else better. So
there's so many now, and I mean, you probably know, but I'm a nerd for such things.
Yeah.
So my knowledge of shoes far exceeds my running knowledge.
Okay.
But yeah, there's so many brands, and to be honest, we're at a point now where people are saying it's very hard to go wrong because the technology has improved to the point where there's very little bad shoes, but just to pick a shoe that works for your style and where you want to go is
Are you gonna make an episode for this?
you know what, I'm actually thinking of maybe
While running. You should videotape yourself while running and make the whole
we could. I was thinking of bringing on my running shoes. Like I have now like 4, and I was gonna talk about the running shoe rotation, what works for what. And well, that's on my mind definitely. Okay, Ahmed. Since you're one of the Agalatea founders, Nadine has already kind of touched on the origin story. I want to also hear it from your point of view of how this all started.
Sure. Basically, Agalatea started exactly in June 2020. That's during the pandemic.
Okay.
And the motivation behind the starting point was to get out of home. And all the gyms were closed. So we were kind of actually this was Aya's initiative to get a bike. So to get a bike and go on the road because there are no gyms, nothing. She got her first road bike, and then me and Wael, our friend, joined her. And then maybe a week later, me and Wael as well got our road bikes. And then we made our first Agalatea ride to our fourth friend, Muhammad Abdul Wahab.
Okay.
He didn't have a road bike at that time. Once we left his home, the second day, he also bought a bike. So now there are 4 of us, and we started basically thinking about why don't we grow this motion.
Yep.
So I started promoting this on multiple social media platforms, and she started basically getting lots of interest, and many people, I think within a month or so we had about 20 cyclists.
Yeah.
That's actually the very short story how Agility started. From this point onward, it became a regular habit that we always go on a bike ride from Oakville to Toronto, from Oakville to Hamilton, and so on. And then a year later we added the running, and then we added the swimming, and then we added the triathlon.
Okay.
And now we have volleyball, pickleball, and we're now thinking about the next basically evolution. Hopefully we can find a permanent place for us.
Awesome. Well, since I'm a member, I think I'm an early member, and I've seen the benefits. So I'll put in a link for people to, join.
That would be great.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? It doesn't have to be exactly about running.
I mean, as I mentioned, I'm a very big advocate of well-being and health.
Yep.
And the impact of this in our lives. I want to encourage people basically to take this as part of their lifestyle. Eat well, drink well, sleep well, train well. You're probably gonna maximize your chances to have a very healthy life, very low blood sugar, very low heart rate, which means relaxed and recovered body.
Yep.
So something I'd like to advocate for. Maybe this is my last words.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ahmed. This was amazing, as I was expecting. I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't want to put other people on the spot.
Okay.
So, whom do you recommend to be interviewed next?
Yeah, there are so many people actually.
Yeah.
Inspiring people, but I would recommend one of the best people that I can think about is Ahmed Sultan.
Yep.
Within the running context, I think Ahmed had a fantastic journey from where he came. I think he would have a lot of valuable insights to share how he achieved this. So my recommendation would be Ahmed Sultan.
Awesome. Okay, Ahmed, I'll be texting you, hopefully running with you very soon.
Sure.
Thanks again, Ahmed. This was amazing. We'll do it again.
Thank you. Pleasure.